We good on the volume level? Let me know. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. All right, thanks for showing up, everybody. Glad you could make it here today with me. And those of you guys who are watch this later, glad you tuned in. So, all right, let me explain the topic a little bit. I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to share at the time, and then when I finally found out a news, we'd already went into print. So I was like, all right, great. I'm not sure who's going to show up to this room thinking I'm going to talk about like finding dead bodies or like 0 days or what. But I'm like, hey, you know what? We're just going to roll with it here. I guess I already explained that part. So, all right, I'm like, unfortunately not able to talk about what I originally wanted to talk about. And then I'm kind of like, all right, great. What am I going to talk about? So I thought, you know what, for the next 45 minutes, we're just going to talk about why I like kittens, you know? All right, this one I couldn't pass up. It was actually apparently the cutest one out of 200 or whatever, but this was like, the caption is, here we see an adorable kitten cleaning its tiny squishy beans. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is wrong with people? I don't even understand what's going on here, but I had to share that with you. But no, we're not really going to talk about that for 45 minutes. I'm sure who doesn't like cat pictures, right? So as I was really contemplating what to talk about, you know, I mean, not like I'd realized it. I mean, this place is full of just really brilliant, smart people. You know, I mean, we just get so inundated. Like, in a way, we kind of, I guess saying we, I'm not saying I know a lot, but point being is we as a whole know a lot of stuff. You know, we're just inundated with technology left and right. You know, what's the latest new Bluetooth coming out? What's, you know, the next CAN bus? You know, all this stuff. We just, enthrall ourselves with it because we just kind of get it. That kind of gets us to this whole concept of, well, we start problem solving in our minds, right? I mean, as a result of that, we end up kind of ending up in our own little bubble, our own little world. So I thought I really wanted to share something with you guys that's tangible, that no matter where you're at, if you're new in this industry, if you've been around for a long time, everybody could really kind of walk away with. So my talk is called How Nathan Crashed and Burned. My thoughts with this, well, yeah, all right, so we're not talking about this kind of crash and burn. We're talking like this kind of crash and burn. Actually, it took me a while to find some that actually were like fitting. It's amazing how many CGI'd like plane crashes there are, which is actually kind of creepy if you think about it. People sit around thinking about how they can make videos of crashing planes. So, all right, so really, it comes down to nobody really told me a lot of things as I was going through my career that I really wish that I learned early on, because I think it would have saved me a lot of time, pain, and heartache. And this is really, I guess you say, kind of me sharing a lot of the challenges that I ran into, really kind of taking the hard path and really sharing it with you all so you don't have to make those same mistakes. This, I guess you could kind of say, is our path in life, right? Or at least what we're told we go through, right? So we come at the beginning, you know, I mean, we're born, you know, it's like the golden years, right? You're like pre-K, whatever. You're not even in school yet, you know, at the top here is what we're talking about. You know, you start coming around the curve, you start going through like high school and all that. You get to this point, you're like, I don't know what's going on. Why I'm on this planet? You know, you get around the curve again here, and you're like, I actually don't really remember what happened here in my life, but then you come around here, we're off to college, woo, you know, I guess we know what we're doing with our lives. Then from here, we come around here, curve, all right, we make 20 billion, whatever, you know, have 20 billion kids, lose 20 billion, whatever, right? Start cruising through life some more, through the circles, up some clouds, because sure, they're cool graphics, whatever, still come around here in our life. Somehow we've avoided death again. And as we keep going, you know, now we just get to the point where we're just figuring out, you know, what our chances of life and death are. And then we finally get to the end. All right, so what, right? All right, the big takeaway from here is, all right, you start, you're born, boom, you get to the end, you're dead, all right? That's pretty much what the world tells you. Now, this is kind of what I thought of like how a hacker works in their life. So you come out the gate and you fall off the edge immediately. You don't even make the curve, right? Next thing you know, your parents are trying to figure out why everything in your house is exploding, doesn't work anymore, and what happened to your sister's, you know, little iPod, right? From there, we somehow magically get through high school. And then when we get to that next point in life again, we somehow totally missed the boat. We got up in like left field, right? If by then our choices haven't quite killed us yet, we somehow spin around the next 20, 30 years trying to figure out what's going on. And then we finally get to the point where we ask ourselves, what do I want to do with my life? Then we figure that out and we're dead. Yay! So I'm like, all right, truly, the irony here is what the world is telling us is happening isn't really what's happening, right? Like we've got these whole concepts, about how we're supposed to live our lives, what it's supposed to look like, and really just kind of brainwashing us, I think, our whole lives. So we're going to kind of dive off the deep end. The first thing that I would recommend you guys do, and that it was a hard lesson for me, stop thinking the world revolves around you. Yeah, I probably should have warned you that at least at some point, if you don't get annoyed by some of the things I'm telling you, you might want to leave. So I really thought I was the man, going through life. I was like, you know what? I got this figured out. This is all about me. I got this. What do I need other people for? It got me kicked off teams, working with groups of people. They just didn't want me around. That was a result of wanting it my way, because, I knew best, right? How many times have you been in a meeting, you had a solution, you're like, dude, you know what? I got the best solution. Forget all these other guys, right? Right. Yeah, thank you. Someone was honest. Thank you. All right. I really wouldn't put the needs of the others on the team above my own, because I had the best idea, right? Forget them. If they can't hold their weight, if they can't pull along, leave them in the dust. Ouch. I wasn't really able to express my ideas to others. Same idea, right? Because I got this figured out. I know what's going on. Forget the other guy, right? That actually made it even worse, because I didn't really know how to delegate what I knew. So someone finally realized, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, and I guess we'll just give him free rein. But then, because I was so used to doing things my own way, I had no idea really how to help explain my ideas to other people and really where to go from there. That really tied into me not really knowing how to collaborate, new things, and even grow with others. If you can't admit where your own shortcomings are, how are you going to accept new ideas, right? I see that a lot, where we almost get so wrapped around this one thing that, we think we're awesome at, that we don't want to listen to input or insight from others. That kind of brings me to this interesting story. I worked with this company for a short while. I don't remember if I was there for 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. I'm pretty sure I was at least there for 6 months, because I was able to collect unemployment. They were a global company that had about 30% market share, and I was brought in as a mid-level engineer. And I came in, and they knew I was in the security space, and they kind of promised that they'd move me into there, but I was working on the software side, and it was great because I was really able to apply myself, but the downside is that I really wasn't listening to others. I was just kind of doing my own thing. As a result, the project managers didn't want to work with me, in a passive-aggressive way. I basically kind of got kicked out the door. So, and the weird thing is, I didn't even realize what happened until later, realizing that it really wasn't me. Sure, there's, those cultural pieces, but it really rolled back to the fact that, I wanted it my way. There was actually this ridiculous thing where we would go on, job site projects for a couple weeks, and the project managers didn't want us charging breakfast for the per diem, because they're letting us stay at a more expensive hotel, and it was $7 a day. And I'm thinking, well, forget you guys. We're getting back at 3 p.m. I'm not getting breakfast there. I'm going to still charge for the per diem, right? So that simple little thing, $7 a day, right? I mean, I really wasn't caring about where they were at, what their limitations were, and I just kind of dove right in, and they never really wanted to work with me again. So, was it really worth $28, for that 2 weeks or whatever it was for the breakfast? No. So, sorry. So, where do we go from here? What's a better way to look around this? Really, you got to acknowledge in your heart that you're not a perfect person. And that's okay. I don't know how much that kind of resonates with you all, if you kind of feel that you have to live up to that expectation. But the reality is, I had to realize that it's okay not to be perfect. Being able to accept criticism, probably the next biggest painful thing. Knowing that you're wrong, that's a hard thing to learn, but it'll help you, because chances are if they're telling you something, you want to listen to it because it's going to help you later. Next thing is kind of performance. We kind of gotten into this world where we think we pretty much have to, work nonstop, right? That we're overloaded, overworked. We've got this need. We got to succeed no matter what. Be perfectionist. Always got to have this answer. That kind of gets you into this really weird cycle of burnout. I experienced that, where pretty much I was going so hard and trying to do everything that I hit the wall where I actually couldn't think. It was weird. Like, I'm literally sitting at my desk and, you couldn't ask me to add, 3 + 7 together in my head. It's the most simple thing, but my head was hurting so much. I burned my body out so hard from trying to push those limits, living off Mountain Dew and Domino's, really not the best combination in the first place. But, when you're like so driven on, I got to solve this problem, I got to do this thing, I don't really care, you kind of throw these things to the side. But the real question is, why is this driving you? Why does that really matter? It did almost kill me. It's kind of funny because it seems like I run into death situations a lot. Like, that almost happened like 2 weeks ago. I think I pissed off the wrong group of people. As I was putting this in here, I realized that. But I almost died from that situation with my health and just doing the whole adrenaline thing and trying to push those limits. Reality is, trying to solve the world's problems, they're not going to make you happy. It's like you start trying to push for some goal that you think is going to make you happy. The reality is, it's not going to make you happy. It's like this weird psychology thing. And I'm sharing this stuff with you guys, not really to tell you like how to live your life, but it's more this concept of, do you realize if you're trapped in these cycles? And honestly, like I said, if someone had told me this, at least planted that idea in my head, I hope I would have listened. I guess the part that I'd like to say with this is, you don't have to prove to yourself you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. I don't know if it's a generational thing where we're kind of learning it from our parents, where things are wrong with us, but you don't have to prove anything to yourself. It was so wrapped up in my whole life. Like, even it happened to my dad. We actually lost maybe tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars because he was trying to push that limit just a little bit more, just a little bit more. It's pretty much like his whole life. And everything was lost pretty much like in vapor in a moment. So I don't share this stuff lightly with you. I know it's kind of weird stuff, but it matters. A lot of personal projects of mine have went up in smoke because of this as well. I had a web hosting company go under, an IT services company go under, cryptocurrency exchange, and to be honest, all my relationships suffered too, because I was so focused on making this thing happen that, once I succeed, once I get this thing, then I'll chase the other stuff, whatever. Yeah, relationships, that's great, but I'd love to have a bunch of money and be happy first. And that's part of the whole problem. We get into this weird mindset. So where you start, I'd say, just stop it and say, why do I think I need to do whatever I'm doing, like right now, like it's mission critical? Like, if you're like, my SAN is down, I can't get to my files, oh my gosh, I can't go out, I can't eat. Why? Now, I'm not saying you can't have fun or we tinker with stuff, but when something becomes so critical that it starts damaging your health or everything else is like kind of taking over, you really want to stop and take note of what's kind of going on with you. So stop slowing down, figuring out what's going on. A lot of times what we think is a big deal isn't a big deal. All the time at work, right? Man, we got to get this report done in. It's got to be by Friday. Oh my gosh, we got to get this RFP in by 6 o'clock. Otherwise, the world's going to end. So you burn out your adrenaline, you're punching through it, and then you get to the end and what? There's really no payoff, right? You're pushing for some kind of imaginary goal that you're never going to hit. So, if you take your time, you're going to think clearer. It's all going to turn out better. And I'm not talking about saying, all right, if you see a baby in the middle of the streets, stop, try to grab that baby before it gets hit. No, I'm not talking like that. Of course, there's things that really come up that, you just have to make decisions. But if if stuff's happening that you don't know why you're doing, you're going to autopilot mode, that really should be kind of like a key indicator to, you know, what's going on, or that something might be off. Going solo is lonely and limiting. All right, so how many people can resonate with this whole idea of saying, I do my own thing how I want, when I want, and where I want? Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So what I realized is that was stunting my creative growth. When I was doing it my way, that was stopping me from realizing that there were other ways and accepting other ways to do things, and just really being able to let go and realize there was more going on here. Success really isn't a solo thing, and I think this is another huge thing that society has really messed with us about. If you think you're going to become a billionaire by living in a dark room programming or solving a problem with no one else involved, you're delusional. And yeah, I actually thought that's how things worked. Then you start believing bad things about yourself. It's almost like this weird cyclical cycle where you start being by yourself, and then you start trying to figure out things by yourself. So you start coming up with these weird, chaotic things that just aren't the truth. Only I can fix this thing. Everybody is against me because they don't see my point of view, and all these other things. You also miss opportunities to grow as a person, as well as, just kind of those other pieces as well. The reality check is, ask any successful person out there how much help they've gotten from other people, and I guarantee they're going to tell you they've had a lot of people helping them out, and that they're just really grateful for a lot of the help that they've got. If they're not, they're lying to you, and the chances are is because they're trying to buy something or get you to buy something or sell into something that it's all about you and nobody else. This is kind of interesting too, because I realize that if you're stuck where you're at and you're not getting promoted, if you're finding that other people are getting jobs and positions that you're looking for, chances are it's you and it's not the people you're around. Because people are getting promoted and put in positions because they know how to deal with other people. They're used to dealing with confrontation and conflict to some degree. Now, let's be honest. There's a lot of people that are in management positions that probably shouldn't be, right? But in an ideal world, where you want to be is you want to be that person that gets selected because you've got that heart, that ability to talk to people, to hear criticism, to receive stuff that's hard, to listen to the people that are under you that are pissed off and not take it personally. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not you. It's them that they got to get stuff off their chest. But if you're solo, doing your own thing, wrapped up in your own world, you're going to completely miss that. I'm pretty sure I've lost a couple people working for me because of that too. I pissed off a lot of people, and I got a lot of grace in that too. So it all worked out. Truthfully, any organization you want to be looking for is going to be looking for people that are from a leadership standpoint, that can take orders. So again, it's not my way. It's not what I want to do. It's more of what can I do for the organization? How do they need to help me? It's like this total shift from looking at yourself to saying, what do I get out of this? Saying, how can I help others? That's what a lot of this really ropes around, instead of looking at this from the standpoint of what's in it for me, and looking at it more of like, how can I be an asset or helping other people? Learning to deal with people. All right, we already covered that, right? Accepting help from others. That's another huge one. I think it really kind of ties in even that whole performance thing too. Like, we gotta figure it all ourselves. We can't ask for help, because if we ask for help, we're weak. Where did that come from? Unlearn that. Yeah, I kind of had interesting thoughts with this one. So gaming and movies, man, they're a complete waste of time. It's reality what? It's an escape. It's entertainment. Why do we typically go to it? Because we're trying to escape from something. Something's kind of going on. You end up more tired. How many times have you gotten home after a long day and you're like, dude, I'm just going to pop on Netflix, do this thing. Next thing you know, it's like 4 a.m. You're exhausted, and then you just drag the next day, right? We somehow buy into this whole thing. We're like, all right, I'm just going to do the same habit. It's going to somehow work out better, but it just drains you. We got to the point where everything overstimulates you. Think about it. Now, even on the social media, what things get the most attention? The things that either piss you off or pull on you in some way. Even, all right, let's be honest. Who the heck watches cable TV or the mainstream news networks anymore? they're turning to every trick that they can, which is stimulating you to get you dragged in, to get you emotional, get you pulled in. So these are all these really weird like snags and tricks that really start jacking with us. To be honest, it's been about, I think 2 months, maybe 1 month, where I haven't really plugged into any TV and all this kind of stuff. And it was really hard, but I feel amazing. I actually sleep better. I feel like I got way more time in the day. It's actually weird. I was like, what do I do with myself now? So hopefully you can have that same revelation too. Also getting angry. Oh my gosh, seriously. When's the last time you ever played a first person shooter? And like, I cannot believe how many enraged 13-year-old boys are on there just cussing up a storm. I'm like, are your parents not home? I mean, it's just amazing. I'm like actually worried for what's going to happen when these guys grow up, you know? That's pretty straightforward, wasting time, right? Not as constructive, all that. This was interesting too, because this false sense of achieving, and I was kind of wrapping that around my head as far as like even TV shows and also like gaming. You know, like when you unlock those achievements, you're like, congratulations, you have unlocked all 400 achievements of this game. Awesome. So is your quality of life better? Is anybody going to know what that game was like 2 years from now? Maybe 6 months? Like why? You know, again, it kind of ties back to the whole performance thing. We did something. We got to feel good about ourselves because we completed something, but it's a lie. It's all a lie. I actually did the math on this. I watched, everybody knows like Stargate, right? SG-1, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, 3 months ago, I watched the entire series from beginning to the end. Why? I don't know. Being nostalgic, right? I did the math on that, and I realized if you were to do a non-stop, episode by episode, the whole thing, it's 6 days, 9 hours, and 15 minutes of time. That's not taking a leak, that's not eating, that's not sleeping, that's just straight through. 153 hours and 15 minutes, or 9,189 minutes. The sad thing is, I did that twice in my life. Dude, like seriously, that's like 2 weeks of my life that I wasted on a stupid show. I can't believe someone's excited about that, but you know, okay. That's why this talk is for you too, man. All right. It's an escape. So I would say, what are you running from? That's a hard thing to ask yourself and even focus. Because if you're trying to escape from something, you're trying to run from that thing. So I ask, what are you running from that's making you go to those other things? What are you trying to avoid? Choose to confront that and or let it go. Otherwise, you're going to get basically stuck in the same cycle. You know, you're not going to escape out of that. Starting off technology, that's actually probably one of the weirdest things too, but we get wrapped around in that too. I realized that like when I would start coding at night, again, I'd start getting wrapped up in my head. You know, it's on the whole problem solving thing. Let's make this work. Let's make this happen. Yeah, it's really weird when you're doing that, and then you got the TV on in the background. Like, how messed up is that? But we need to get out. We need to get away from some of this stuff. I'm not saying don't have hobbies and don't tinker with this stuff, but it's like we've gotten so tied into this stuff that we can't even see the outside world, right? So, I guess kind of before we get to some of the question stuff, even if you guys are going to have some of this question stuff, I didn't really even know where this is going to go. I actually wasn't even sure it was going to have more than like 2 people left in the room. Me being one of them and the sound guy probably being the other, right? So real life application types of stuff. So I would say this, all the certs, all that stuff that you're chasing in the world isn't going to do you jack until you can confront this stuff and deal with this stuff. I'm telling you firsthand experience. I'm 38. I'm 38 years old, and I have gone through so much heartache and pain and crash and burn because it took me, at least a decade to figure some of this stuff out and actually kind of come to terms with some of this stuff. I'm not saying I got all the answers, but it's a great start for what's going on with me. Typically, if you haven't figured this out, the harder choice is the better choice. But you're the only one who's going to be able to make that choice and confront it. Nobody else is going to be able to do that for you. I'd say kind of do like a spirit check. What's going on inside you? Are you lying to yourself saying, no, dude, everything's cool. It's all good. You're trying to convince yourself, emotionally give yourself that high, like, yeah, I'm solid. Are you really? Or are you just trying to make yourself feel better? Once you come to terms with yourself, it might be hard, but you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. I say the truth is how I got through this stuff, and bear with me. I said, it was God who got me through this stuff. And I'm not telling you what to believe and all that kind of stuff, but what I'm telling you is realizing that there was more to myself really helped a lot. So, with that, that's just all I have for you. So, are there any questions out there? Up here.
Okay, so when you really get some experience, 10 years from now, are you going to give the same talk?
When I get some more experience, am I really going to give the same talk? I don't know. I'll let you know in 10 years. I find that there really is no destination until you hit that grave point, right? We're all learning, we're all growing, we're all at different places, but you know, I think the best thing we can do is really help each other and share with each other where we're at, what we've gone through, so that, you know, the next generation doesn't have to deal with that stuff, you know?
Do you think the next generation will listen until they get to where you are?
Do I think the next generation will listen? I don't know. Best I can do is hope. You know, even if what I'm saying gets rejected, the fact that they've still heard it, I feel like I've done what I could. So, yeah.
So your failures of the past,
Yes.
if you didn't have them, would you be here right now? What would you be?
Hmm.
A whole lot less, possibly?
Well, the interesting thing is, I'm not sure how much of some of the stuff I learned through the failures. It was looking back that I realized that these failures were caused by these things. So it wasn't the failures itself, because I understand what you're saying. It's this whole concept of like, oh, let's go forward, crash and burn, and then I'll learn from that lesson. But the reason why I'm sharing these things is I didn't learn the lesson. So. Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you for your time, and I wish the very best for you all, and have a great day.